For those of us from India, namaste. Koreans, annyeonghaseyo. And I don't know what other nationalities are here, but good morning, praise the Lord. I think praise the Lord is very common for all of us. As has been said, I am Jiggu, Bogi, that's my name. And my wife, will you please stand up so people can see you? Is Chongmi Lee, that's her name, Chongmi Lee. And I work with an organization called Youth with a Mission, YWAM. And I work as the South Asia Director for YWAM, overseeing the work for South Asia. We have about 2,500 full-time missionaries involved in about 180 different cities in South Asia. I'm also part of YWAM's university, on the committee that of the College of Christian Ministries to help develop curriculum and approve training programs across the world. We live in Hyderabad in India, and we're very, very happy to be here. Just when we were coming here, as I reached the Hyderabad airport to board the plane, I got a severe attack of gout. Gout is a form of arthritis. Severe pain on my foot, and I couldn't stand or walk. I lived, and I had to be brought in on the wheelchair into the airplane. And when I changed flights in Bangkok too, so I kept praying that our time here in Korea will be still anointed by God, and I'll be able to do all that I have come here to do. And that's why I was sitting during the time of worship, because it's really painful when I stand on my feet. So I hope the worship team don't mind that I was sitting. I was worshiping as I sat there. We have 25 sons, my wife and I. You look surprised. One of them is our own, and 24 other boys have become part of our family. They are victims of hate crimes or persecution or communal rights that happened a few years ago in the state of Orissa. And we've been working there for a long time, and finally we decided the best way would be to invest in the lives of children. As someone said, if you want to plant for a year, if you want to plant for a year, you sow the rice. If you want to plant for a decade, then you plant a tree. But if you want to plant for a century, then you invest or sow in children. So we decided to raise 24 boys for God. They're doing fantastic. Tribal children from the interior tribal areas. When they came, they didn't know ABCD, the alphabet in English, but now they're studying in English schools, competing with the city boys and toppers in the class. They got double promotion. That means if they were in grade 3, they skipped 4, they went to 5. Yes, and then again the next year from 5 to 7. So most of them have been really, really doing well. It's a wonderful, wonderful privilege for us to be able to raise these boys. And sometimes people tell me, "Oh, Pastor, can you come to your orphanage and feed your children?" And I say, "Which orphanage?" But my wife says, "Which orphanage?" We get upset when people call it an orphanage. And they say, "You know, your boys." We say, "No, they are my children. We didn't give birth to them, but we're raising them. They are my children." So where is the question of orphanage? Sometimes some people say, "Can we give some clothes to your children?" And I say, "Give good enough clothes. If your children can wear those clothes, my children can wear those clothes. If your children can't wear, and therefore you want to give to my children, don't give it. Because these are precious children of God." So that's our family. We also do ministry among the tribal people of Banjaras and Koyas and many others, and have wonderful church planting ministries with them. We also work with the campus students in campuses, various campuses across the nation. And also in Hyderabad we have ministry for the HIV victims and affected, those that are infected and affected. Because there are children whose parents are infected, but they are affected because because soon their parents will die. And so 70 plus families we care for. We take them to the hospital to give them nutrition, medication. We visit their homes and pray for them. Sometimes they get so sick, some days are terribly sick for them and they're so weak they can't even cook. So we go cook for them and we eat with them. Yes, we eat with them. Don't be afraid of HIV patients. They should be afraid of us because their immune system is very weak. So if we have a cold, cough or fever, we give it to them. We don't get the HIV just by sitting and chatting with them. So we go take care of them and love them. Sometimes when they die, nobody wants to even live. Because HIV is not only a deadly disease, but it also has the stigma of, oh, you have HIV. So the families discriminate, don't want to be with them. So we're involved even in the burial of those that pass away. A 12-year-old girl whose parents are near, one of her parents died, another one is just about there. She's about 90 to 95% blind. She has HIV too. She will live a bit longer. And then we have a Muslim lady who came to me last time, a few months ago. And we were praying. Several Muslim ladies come to us because we minister to them, we go to their homes. And she was crying and she said, Pastor, my husband died a few years ago. And I have a 16-year-old daughter. And I don't know what will happen to her when I die. She's an HIV positive patient too. And she's going to die in maybe a year or so. She said, will you please pray? And I said, you know, Jesus loves you and He saved you. He will take care of your daughter. At the moment, we are here. And as long as we are here, your daughter will be like our child. We'll take care of her. But if we are not here, Jesus will not abandon you. Because we are not the ones doing it. It is the love of God through us. So if not us, it will be somebody else that Jesus will appoint to love your daughter and take care of her. But as long as we are here, yes, as we're taking care of you, we will continue to take care of her. There are many such patients in need. We want to start a home for those children that are affected, not infected, but also those that are infected, so we can, raise them up till they go to the Lord. And another ministry we have is the ministry of intercession. We go around the city of Hyderabad, praying for revival in the city, praying against injustice, praying against corruption, praying for God's kingdom to come. So we go to the central parts of the city, we go to the crowded areas, the market areas, the government offices and buildings, the strongholds of the city, the highlights and the high spots and the weak spots of the city, the red light areas and all of those. And we pray for God's kingdom, for God's love to flow in the city. We also train people to become servants of the Lord and missionaries, young people especially. And we have opportunities for people like you to come on a short-term mission trip and be involved in missions. So, Pastor, it will be a blessing if you're able to send somebody from the English service as well. Hamburg Church, of course, is a dear church, and we have a relationship with the church for 17 years, and several teams have come from there. But a ministry that we started about 2 years ago is called Street Light, that is taking, loving the homeless people, shedding the light of Jesus with the homeless people. I'll show you a brief video clip of that, and then I will share my sermon. And this is called Street Light. In the last about year and a half or a little bit more, we've been able to rescue about 200 plus people from the streets, give them the medical care and attention, share the love of God with them and the gospel, and then try to put them in some home that may be available for the older people. And after having done it for about a year and a half to 2 years nearly, we decided to pray about starting a home. Because when we take the people from the street, we carry them, we hug them, we clean their wounds, we love them as Jesus would love. But when we leave them in the homes that are run by others, different people, they feel they don't get that love and attention and care, and they crave for it. In the first place, they became homeless because they left the confines of home in search of a better home. ended up on the street, becoming homeless with no love at all. More than the medical care and attention, they need love. And so we're praying about starting a home for them so that we can bring them, keep them with us for 6 months, help them recover, help them find a job, and then set them out to live and establish their lives. So can we watch this video, please? Audio is on. Can you pause that? The audio is. That's our staff. His name is Shaker. That's our center for the morning. As you saw there, the Streetlight Ministries, and it's just wonderful to be able to share God's love with them, share the gospel with them, and demonstrate God's love in action. We don't have any medical personnel. We just do things ourselves. And you've seen some of them are graphic, but just 2 weeks ago, there was a lady who was hit by a train, and the train actually ran over her. She was unconscious, lying there for a few days. And we were walking across because we know where to find homeless people. And we found her. And we got her to the hospital. And the second day, the first day doctors examined her, generally foot was gone, and tried to treat her. The second day they observed that there's a hole that, and when the doctor put his hand in her stomach, right inside, we knew the doctor said she's going to die. We had the privilege of leading her to the Lord and praying with her. When I went to see her, she was stinking, It's really, sometimes they're shouting in pain because it's unbearable. And so we're praying for an ambulance like a van. So right now we bring them on the scooter that we have, as you saw, and our home, and a medical, maybe a nurse to come alongside them. I requested the pastor to please pray for this ministry.
Father, thank you. In a certain time of our life, Father, you gave us such a lovely time to understand your heart. Father, because of your wonderful grace, we become the children of yourself. Father, we know such a great grace actually gives us a great call to all of us in our life, Father. Especially this time, Father, we really, really bless and thank you because you introduce a certain part of your heart today. Father, especially bless the Pastor Bogi and his ministry. Because his heart is to stay certain area of your heart, the weakness of the people in India. Oh Heavenly Father, we do not know further about his ministry, but you know and you know and you everything give us a great blessing to understand your heart upon the people who are in need in this world. Father, let us quit such a selfish life. Only think about me and me and me. Father, we really ask your helping hand to change our concern into for the people staying in your heart. Oh Heavenly Father, bless and supply all everything in His ministry, and through His ministry, let all the people who call the Christian to have a great and blind understanding of your heart and further. We bless and we pray in Jesus' precious name. Amen.
Thank you very much. Well, this morning, thank you very much. This morning, as we read in the scripture, our sister read for us from Hebrews chapter 10, verses 24 and 25, it says, so some people were in the habit of not going to church or meeting and fellowshipping with the other believers. And he said, let's not be like that, but let us encourage one another, especially as we see the day approaching, so that we may be stronger in the faith. So today I'm going to be talking about how to be effective in encouraging one another. Have you ever tried to hug yourself? Have you ever tried to put your head on your shoulders and cry? Have you ever tried to hold your own hand to walk on unsure footing? Hard to do that, isn't it? You can't leap on your own shoulder. We need another shoulder. We need another person to hug us. We need someone else to hold us, our hands, when we walk on unsure footing or ground. Thankfully, the church is not a building, but it is people. And people whom our Lord Jesus has commanded to be the church, wherein as a community, as a people, as God's family, we are commanded to love one another as Jesus loved us. And the Bible commands us to offer our arms to give a hug, our shoulders to let people cry on, our hands to reach out and help those that need help. There are many, many, many verses in the Bible, and I call them one another verses, because within that verse there is one another, one another, one another. This phrase is repeated. Even in the scripture that we read, it is there. We'll come back to it. But let me just give you a few of those verses, the one another verses. John 13:35, love one another. Often we want only the pastor to love us. Often we want pastor to do everything for us. We burn him out. One man has to care for so many people and do all these things for so many people, will burn him out from both ends. My Bible teaches us not just from the pastor to love one another, but each one love the other. One another as a body of Jesus Christ. Romans 12:10, be devoted to one another and prefer one another in honor. Romans 15:7, accept one another. 1 Corinthians 12:25, care for one another. Care for one another. It's not a commandment just to the pastor to care for us, but we are to care for one another. Galatians 6:1, carry one another's burdens. Galatians 5:13, serve one another. Ephesians 4:32, be kind to one another. Forgive one another. 1 Thessalonians 4:18, comfort one another. 1 Thessalonians 5:11, build up one another. James 5:16, confess your sins one to another and pray for one another that you might be healed. One another, one another, one another. We are to minister. We are to be the arms, the shoulders, the hands, the eyes, the love of Jesus to one another in the body. Then our church will be stronger in faith, healthier in faith. And the scripture verse that we read today, it's amazing, because it talks about some are in the habit of not coming to the church or to meetings. Encourage therefore one another. Why? Because more than rebuking, encouragement works better. Encouragement works wonders. Encouragement works wonders in people's lives. With encouragement, we can begin to have new strength, new motivation, new ability and success. It is amazing to read about people who, with a little encouragement, have gone on to accomplish amazing things in life. Let me share with you then how to encourage one another effectively using our tongue or words. How we can use words to encourage one another. The Bible says the power of life and death is in the tongue. Because the words that we speak have power either to bring life or to bring death to the person we are talking. That's why someone in a satire said, "Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will do me no harm." Obviously, he was saying the opposite. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will do me no harm. What he's really saying is, more harm than sticks and stones can cause to me are the words, power of words. Therefore, the tongue is the strongest muscle in the human body. Let's use the tongue to lift up people, not put them down. To love people and accept people, not to cut them off. To not be discriminatory. To not be critical. To not be judgmental. But let's use words to encourage one another. Build one another in faith and in life. One of the most effective ways to use our tongue is, I'm going to share with you 5 things. Have you ever been to a funeral? You see the person who's dead, and a lot of people come up and speak about him. "Oh, he died. Oh, he was such a good man. He was so kind. Oh, he did this for me. He was this." And we sing praises of the man. That's good to do. But hello, he's dead. He can't listen even a single word we are saying. I wish we told those things when he was alive. He might have been encouraged to know that he had some impact, some utility, some usefulness, some blessing to other people. But many times when people die, we say good things. That happens in India. How about in Korea? How about in Africa or other nations that you come from? I'm at Uganda, right? When people die, they say good things? All right. It's sort of universal. See, there were 2 brothers, very, very, very bad, scums of the society. They were on news for crime, for peddling drugs, for womanizing, for running all kinds of rackets. Everybody knew they are really terrible people. One of the brothers died. So the living brother went to the pastor and he said, "Pastor, at the funeral, please say that my brother was a saint." And the pastor said, "What? Everybody knows you guys. I can't call him a saint." And the man took out $5,000 and he said, "Here's $5,000. And I'll give you another $5,000 when you call him a saint." Just once. So the pastor thought for a while. He said, "Okay." And the next day at the funeral, there was this dead body and the brother was seated in the front row and the people would come there, and the pastor said, "Beloved, we are gathered here to bury this man who lies in the coffin. We all know him. We know him through the newspapers and the televisions. He was a womanizer and made lives of women miserable in society. He was responsible for the crime against women, for the rape of women, and for destroying the lives of women. He was a drug peddler and made many young people in our society drug addicts. And the pastor, his brother sitting there was thinking, oops, this pastor is a bigger crook than me. He took the money and look at what he is saying now. But the pastor continued and said, we all know him to be the worst person in society. Yet, when you compare him with his brother, he was a saint. We all want to hear good things, right? Let's not wait till we die. Let's encourage one another while we are alive. Let's use our words to encourage. How do we do it? 5 simple ways out of it. Number 1, in order to become an effective encourager, learn to examine. Wear a new set of glasses. Because the way we have been tuned to in this world is to notice the wrong things in people, the bad things in people. When somebody does something wrong, then we notice it and we talk about it with others. The world, our government, and the individuals, unfortunately, even us amongst us Christians, we too seem to notice the bad things first and talk about them more. Have you ever had a policeman stop you? And you stop and then he comes up to you and says, good morning, I just stopped to tell you that you've been driving really well, you're following the rules very well, have a good day sir, please go. Have you ever had that? But the moment you break a law, he stops you to have a chat with you. In India, maybe sometimes a little more than a chat. They expect a little money too from you, a little bribe. Not always, but it still continues to happen. See, they never talk to us when we do the right things. But when we do something wrong, people want to talk about it. If you want to be a good encourager, which we should be as Christians, because we are commanded in the Bible, we should learn to wear new glasses and look at people with the eyes of Jesus. You see, the way Jesus looked at people was different, absolutely. He knew Judas was going to betray him, but he warned Judas. He didn't condemn him. He gave him opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to change his ways and repent. When Peter was going to deny him in the Garden of Gethsemane, the last night on the night that Jesus would be betrayed, in Luke chapter 22, verse 31, Jesus said to Peter, Peter, you will deny me. And Peter said, Lord, I will go to the jail with you, I will die for you, but I will not deny you. Remember the story? But Jesus said to him, Peter, Satan has desired you, but I have prayed for you. You will deny me, but you will be strong, then strengthen your brothers. What Jesus has seen is not only the fact that you will deny me, but Peter, you will be strong again. And not just strong for yourself, you will be strong enough to help others in their faith and strengthen their faith. You see, the eyes of Jesus, he saw us for the potential we have within us. What we could become in God like a Christ. If you want to be an encourager, notice good things about you. So the first thing I want to say is examine. The 5 things I would say are with E. So the first E is examine. Examine good things about people. Examine good things about people. Whenever I meet Pastor, I notice that he always greets me with a very big smile. For a few years I've been coming here and meeting with Pastor. And every time he sees, he just is always ready to hug, ready to welcome, ready with a big smile and talk so friendly. Sometimes we pastors are a little unfriendly, you know. I don't know why we have to be like that. I don't know in seminary we are trying to be a little bit reserved and unfriendly. But our pastor is absolutely friendly. Have you noticed that? Every time I come, I see him, he is very, very friendly, welcoming, warm, and loving. I notice good things about people. Hello? When we walked in, as soon as we walked in, I think it was yourself, sir, you shook hands with us and gave us a chewing gum. And I was like, oh, what is this? I'll have it after lunch. Wow, such wonderful welcome and hospitality. This is amazing. Isn't that wonderful? So notice every day. Notice good things in people. Notice good things in your spouse. Sometimes when we're married for a few years, the rose petals have fallen and all that is left is the thorns. And we notice the thorns more than the flower. She's still the rose. He's still the man. Look for what they could become. The husband they can be. The good things. Of course we need to talk about our mistakes and wrongs in a loving way and correct each other. But when we look at people, let's look for things that are praiseworthy, that are commendable, that are good, so that we can encourage. So that's my first E. E, examine with the eyes of Jesus. Second E, once you've examined, explain to the person. Don't just examine and keep it in your mind. Tell people the good things that you have observed about them, lest you have to wait till they die and then tell it, and they won't be able to hear. So explain it to them. I saw a signboard in a restaurant in India some time ago. As we were exiting the door, it was at the exit point. It said, if you like our food, tell others. If not, tell us. I thought that was a really nice little saying. If you like our food, advertise for us. If not, tell us, we can get better, we can improve. And I thought, oh, that's really nice. And I thought, okay, for my encouragement, if you like our food, not only tell others, tell me too. When you examine the good things, please tell the person the good things you have observed. There are many ways to do that. Talk to them directly, and explain the good things you have noticed about them, one-to-one. Or you can do it in a group and say, oh, you know what, this brother, and explain it in a group. Oh, he would be so encouraged that way. Or sometimes, you know he's standing around here, and you just talk loud enough for him to be hearing what you're saying about him, the good things. And that would encourage. Sometimes send an SMS, or a cut-off, or a little email, or a card. There are many ways to explain to people the good things you have observed about them. So that's the second E. Okay, the first one is examine with the eyes of Jesus. The second is explain what you have examined. The third is express it with your heart. The third E. When you explain about the good things you have noticed in people, express it with your heart. Don't just, maybe Sunil, would you come up with me, Sunil? I was here last time and Sunil was here last time. And so this morning when I walked in, I recognized that Pastor greeted me as usual. Pastor is very joyful and very warm and welcoming. He greeted me, and then I wanted to set up this video in the computer and transfer it. And I asked him, he was getting ready with some things, and I said, can we do this? And he was very, very joyful to help me. So Sunil, when I walked in, a familiar face a little bit, I thought so. But more than that, just your attitude. The way you were very eager to serve, very eager to bring in an extension cord for my computer to be connected so we can transfer the file. And then you tried to help out. And another brother, there you are, with the camera, also came in and then talked about it. And I just want to say, I was so encouraged. I was so blessed to have a brother who is so positive, so willing, and so serving. Thank you very much. God bless you. Now stay here for a moment. Now, every time as I was speaking, I was looking at him, and my face and my heart expressed what I wanted to say. What if I told him, Sunil, when I came this morning, and thanks for helping me with the setup and things like that. Good job. Huh? You're doing well. You know, it's not as good, isn't it? When you have to explain something to somebody, express it from your heart, look into their eyes, take time, don't be distracted by other things. Just devote the time to them. They will be so honored, so encouraged. Thank you so much. Well done. Oh yes, sir. Thank you. And the fourth E. This is very, very important. The fourth E is expectation. The word of expectation. When you explain from your heart what you have examined, make sure you not only say what you have said about what you have observed, the past or the present, but speak a word about the future. What do you expect this person to become? You see, that was what Jesus would do. He looked at Simon the first time Simon came to him. He said, Simon, you will be Peter, a rock. First time. He saw Nathanael. In John chapter 1, verses 45, we read his story. 46 onwards to 51, we read his story. Nathanael came to meet Jesus with doubts and questions. Because his question, Nathanael's question was, can any good thing come from Nazareth? And Philip, you're telling me about Jesus of Nazareth, he's the Messiah, you found him? John chapter 1. And Nathanael, with his doubts and questions, comes and Jesus looks at him and he says, aha, Nathanael, a true Israelite indeed, in whom there is no guile. See, Jesus spoke about what they are, what they could become. A true Israelite, a true worshiper of God. So we got to not only say what we have observed, but go a little further and speak about the future of the person. This is very, very, very important. In psychology, there's a law. It's called the law of expectation. How it reads is this. A person tends to rise up to the expectation of the one they love or respect. I'll repeat it. A person tends to rise up in their lives to the expectation of the one they respect or love, or one who loves them. And that's what Jesus was doing. You are Simon, you will be called Peter, the rock. You will deny me, Peter, but you will be strong. He spoke about the future. When I was in school, I had a very, very good experience with a teacher. But before that, I had many bad experiences. I loved sports. All the time I played. I didn't study well. I forgot to do my homework. I forgot to, I didn't get good rank in my class. I was among the students that were in the back benches and getting the worst ranks. If we had 32 students, I would be ranked up to about 28 or 29 or 27 was really good. If I get up to there, out of the 32. So I got punished regularly in my school. My teachers punished me regularly. And I just loved to play. So I'd come home, leave the books at the back and run out to play. Didn't want to study. And played, came back, had dinner. Those days we didn't have TV. So we always are outdoors playing with our neighbors and others. So, and forgot to do the homework. And when teacher says, have you done your homework? What homework? So I got punished regularly by teachers. My teachers didn't like me. When I was in class 7, that would be just the beginning of high school or so, and social studies teacher, I didn't like social studies at all because you had to memorize long answers. I love math and English. The only two subjects I scored marks were in math because it's like solving puzzles. I could easily solve puzzles in a little time. I didn't have to waste too much time doing math. English, okay, all right. But social studies, history, geography, boring. And my teacher, was in the class with me. And she disciplined the boy sitting beside me, and she disciplined me. She asked us to get out of the class. And so we were outside standing and checking away. And when the class was over, and we went in and she was coming out, and she stopped to look at me. And she said to me, Jiggu, why are you wasting your time with those boys? You know you're not that man. Don't sit in that bench. You're a good boy. I was 13 years old by then, 14. First time in my life that I could remember, a teacher told me I was a good boy. Well, until that time, I always got punished. You know, we got cane this way, here, on the head, and I don't know if you were from India, but you got cane. But in India, it's come down now. But when I was a kid, the principal and the teachers would beat us anywhere. So we'd be like, oh, you know, we learned breakdance in school. With broken bones now. Okay. And so this teacher took a little time. And she said to me, Jiggu, you know, your dad spoke to me last week. He's concerned about you. Study well, Jiggu, you can do it. For the first time, that teacher thought, A, I was a good boy, and that I would study well. First time I heard good things being observed about me. First time I heard someone say about my future that I could be a better student. You may not believe this, but in the next exam, I got 84% in social studies, the highest I ever got in my life. And my rank jumped to number 4. In the next exam, number 3. When I finished my high school, I was always, from then on, the next 2 years, I was always on the top of the class. When I finished my high school, I had beaten the previous records of the other students. I scored the highest ever in my school. And I owe it to this teacher who was able to look at the potential in me and say to me, you can do it. It's very, very important to not only explain what we have seen, but also what we can become. A word of expectation. This is very important. I'd like you to listen to me carefully because I'm going to give you time to do it, to practice before you go home. And it will be fantastic. And the last one, the last E, is endearment. Just to say, you're dear to me. You're special to me. I love you. You're a special brother, a special friend, a special sister, a special leader. You're a loving person. You can shake hands, you can hug, you can kiss, whatever is appropriate within that context. But to show your love for the person. 5 simple things. Examine, explain, express it from your heart, expectation, the most important one, and endearing. Let me do a brief demo for you, if you don't mind, and then I'll ask you to do that to one another, and then after you've done it, then I will conclude. Pastor, may I use you again, please?
Okay. I think that's the first time that you really encouraged that I'm really smart to do. Because such an expression itself is very, very good to me and the encouragement. Okay, so thank you. I just prepared this pause.
Okay. Yes. Sure, thank you. Pastor, every time I have met you, I'm doing this as a demo now, with the 4th one as well. Okay? Every time I have met you, you have always welcomed with a warm smile. You have not just stood and waited for me to come. Actually, you've taken steps to come to me. You reached out. You come forward. And that makes people like us very, very, very important. We feel warmly welcomed by you. We feel your shepherd's heart, your pastor's heart. We feel we are welcome in this place, and we feel like we are your friends. When I examine these qualities in you, I think you are the right person to be pastor of an international community. Because sometimes I find that if people don't greet people from other cultures, but in you I see them. I think you're therefore the right person to lead an international community of believers. You are a pastor not just to the Korean community here, but to the international community. And I see that God will bless you more and more and more. Nations that you know of will come to you, and you will shepherd them, and you will bless them, and you will teach them the way of the Lord. I'm very blessed to be one of your friends, Pastor. Thank you. Thank you. Did you see that?
Yes.
Did I do the first one? I already examined. I don't tell that. But the second one, I explained to him. Was I looking at him constantly? Was I meaning from my heart? Did I speak a word of expectation? All right. And then I gave him a hug. Okay. Would you please get up and do that? Because the Bible says, as we read in the passage, some are in the habit of not coming to church, but encourage one another. When will you do? Right now. So go to somebody and encourage somebody. You have about 5 minutes, then come back and I'll finish.
Good morning. You look pretty today. No. Your English is good. Your English is good. I think you're very sweet. You're so encouraging to everybody. I love it. I think you share your heart with so many people and you bring joy to everyone. It's true. It's true. It's true. You bring joy. Okay, I'm good. Let's find people.
지금 여기에 지금 시간 가져왔는데 왜 이렇게 많이 없어? 항상
Thank you for helping me with this video. That was really very kind of you.
Wives and husbands, parents and children, friends, and we think Pastor is the spiritual leader and he knows it all, he's got it all together, and he may therefore not need our influence. Believe me, as pastors, we carry a lot of burden and weight on us. We need your encouragement too. So take time to encourage the pastor and to encourage the wife. If I didn't start now, some of you would have continued on for a longer time. Because it's good to be encouraged, isn't it? So, my wife told me, you are very good at encouraging others, but you don't encourage me as much. I thought about it. And I realized, maybe, I think I'm encouraging her enough. I think. But maybe I'm not. And I also thought another maybe the spouses and the family needs to be more aware. Maybe we may be better at encouraging, as she said, others rather than our own family. Beloved, we need to really encourage our spouses, our children, our family members. It's very, very, very important. Mother Teresa said, there is terrorism in the world, there is peacelessness in the world, there is hate in the world, but what can solve this problem, she said, is when there is love in the family. Healthy families, she said, produce healthy communities. Healthy communities, healthy societies. Healthy societies, healthy nation. Loving family, loving community. Loving community produces loving society and a loving nation. No place for terrorism. So I would say, let's take time to really include it at home. Absolutely. I shared this with a businessman who was in his mid-30s and his wife, and I heard their story. My wife and I were praying for them, and they were talking about themselves and the stress they were going through with their business and job and all of that. And so I felt to teach them to encourage one another. So we sat down, just the four of us, and I shared with them about encouragement. And I told him, go and do it like I told you. And as the husband was trying to encourage him, he wasn't looking at her. He was like, here, there's one good thing. And I said, no, look at her. And he had to put a little work to actually look into her eyes, because they had become critical, a little bit critical of each other. Through the stress in times, they just, I know he's going to do that. I know he's going to say that. I know he's going to put it. I know the bad things, the weak things, but not the good things so much. So it took a little time, but he began to tell her that she was crying. She hadn't felt appreciated in a while. She was really encouraged. She told him of her love to him and how she appreciated him for the things he does for the family. He was almost in tears. I shared it with another church, and there was a minister in the parliament who was a member of the church. 60s. And it was interesting to watch him and his wife. They were encouraging each other and trying to hold hands in public, and it wasn't possible for them. It took a little coaxing from the wife's side, hold my hand. But he did, and they talked to each other. And the lady was an elder, Gonzine, and she was like, this is really a blessing, Pastor. I don't know when last we spoke to each other like this. We don't have a problem so much in our marriage, but we are also not really watering, pouring water on into our marriage and enriching our marriage. So this really helps. There are many, many stories I can talk about our encouraging as a couple. Please do that in the church, do that in your family, do that in your workplace. How often should you encourage the others? Simon, were you blessed that I encouraged you? Yes, I did. Should we do it once a year for him? On the birthday or maybe on the New Year's Day? How often do you think we should encourage one another? Every day? Actually, you're right. Hebrews chapter 3 and verse 13, and I will read it for you. Hebrews chapter 3 and verse 13, it says like this. But encourage one another. Again, the one another I talked about, right? 13. Encourage one another daily, as long as it's called today. So that none of you, So that none of you may be hardened by sin's deceitfulness. Encourage one another daily, so that we may not be hardened in whatever. May God bless you. May this church, may this community be a community where you love one another, serve one another, carry one another's burden, and encourage one another. Shall we pray? Heavenly Father, when you sent the Savior to die on the cross to save us from our sins, He not only just came and died on the cross on the same day, but He lived here as a human being to show us how to live our lives as well. And from His life we learn that He loved, whether it was the woman caught in adultery, whether it was the corrupt tax official Zacchaeus who climbed up the tree, whether it was the masses that came to hear him, whether it was the religious teachers who came by night to talk with him, he loved them. He encouraged them. He saw them for what they could become. And in the example of our Lord Jesus, he demonstrated and he commanded us to love God. And today we talk about the encouragement. Help us to be like you. Help us to encourage one another. That this community, the church here, will be a place where people will come and find shoulders to cry out, arms to be hugged, hands that will help them, hearts and ears that will hear, that will build up one another, encourage one another. May they not be hardened in any way. May the families, may the individuals, may each one in this church grow from strength to strength and be transformed into the image of Jesus from glory to glory. And bless them and keep them till we meet again. We pray in Jesus' name.
Amen.